Hey, you guys. I've been thinking for a couple days how best to, do a video about the stuff that's going on right now and all this. It's pretty crazy out there. And, I did a video on silver and stuff a week ago or so. And, I was saying it's going to be, it's going to be a rough ride. Um, right now they're playing a lot of games. These guys are desperate right now. They see that, you know, they see us. They definitely see us all over the internet. First of all, it was Obama's big birth certificate again. Nobody bought that. They see it. They see that people don't believe it. And Bin Laden. So they're losing their control over all this stuff. I don't have any doubt about it. So this was one of the 20 articles I read today, and this one just struck me as a real good, as the perfect article just to read you guys. I think it covers a lot of stuff, and I concur with most all of this. So okay, this is it's called Mike Krieger exposes the big lie. Okay, the big lie. I feel completely blessed to be alive right now, to be witness and participant in a moment in human history that will be written about and passed down in tales for as long as humanity remains on this planet. It's probably true. I mean, we are living right now through the biggest world war and the biggest war for control and power that there's ever been. I mean, okay, we are currently observing the evaporation of what the Nazis referred to as the big lie. In very basic terms, the concept of the big lie is that if you are going to lie, you may as well lie big. So big, in fact, that the majority of well-meaning citizenry would never imagine anyone lying on such a grand scale, particularly not their government officials. So that they don't even question the basis of their own reality. In the case of the United States, the big lie is that we have a free market capitalist economy. Instead, we have a corporatist, fascist economy that enriches three main groups: Wall Street financiers, the military industrial complex, and large multinational corporations that don't pay taxes. So that begs the question, how can the American people be so brainwashed into thinking that they live in this false reality? It's very easy. It's all about the money. Up until recently, and by that I mean the last 3 years, how many people asked, what is a dollar? How is it created? And who controls the creation? Since essentially no one did. Very few people did. The financial crisis changed everything because as the false reality finally cratered under its own weight, the super elite that robs and rapes the rest of us saw their world crumbling and they panicked. In order to save themselves, their reputations, and most importantly, their wealth, they responded in such an absurd and selfish manner that it shook millions of Americans from their slumber. I agree with it, totally. People started asking basic questions they never even thought to ask before. One of those people was me. Well, I was asking this stuff long before you, Mike, but anyway, yeah, you call it out pretty good here. When I discovered how completely fooled I had been my whole life and figured out how the scam works, I started writing about it. I relied on those great men who have been writing about it for decades in relative obscurity to educate me on monetary and financial history. Yeah, those people who were considered, lunatics, kooks, conspiracy kooks. I then shared what I learned with anyone that would listen. I am pleased to report that it has been a tremendous success, and enough people are now awake for the system to be overthrown. Yeah, maybe. Definitely a lot of people are awake and causing them a big trouble. Um, that is what is in the process of happening now. Yet, as I have said many times before, the super elite has all the tools of control still and will not go down easy. Think about what despotic leaders have done to people in times past. The torture, the extermination, anything to have power and keep power. I believe many at the helm within the financial system and military industrial complex in the U.S. are just as evil as those from the past. No doubt they are. That said, in the age of the internet Their methods of control have changed, and the war going on between truth and lies playing out right now has two main battlefields. There is the information war being waged by the alternative media versus the dinosaur propaganda media. The second battlefield is the financial markets, where honest money, gold and silver, is battling fraud fiat money controlled by the banksters who give the Bernanke his marching orders. These orders are not designed to help the economy, which is why the economy remains horrible. They are designed to preserve the status quo and protect their ill-gotten gains. The establishment is getting wiped out on both battlefields. It's an amazing sight to see. Yeah, I think they are, and especially this week. I made a video about the birth certificate, and then I made a video about this Bin Laden thing as soon as it came out, and saying this is a scam, this is a hoax. And they see that. And I saw a lot of other people on YouTube too, and all over the rest of the internet. Those people see. These elites are looking out, they definitely see it. And don't think they just go, forget it. They know, they see that the people are not buying it. The Bernanke has no clothes. I'll read through this. The Bernanke's inaugural press conference last week was nothing short of a disaster. The Wizard of Disneyland came out from behind the curtain, and despite softball questions from journalists, couldn't make any sense whatsoever. I just listened to it again a few minutes ago. His answers were full of contradictions and backwards logic. The first time the word inflation came out of his mouth in response to a question, he started stuttering. When asked about the dollar, he said the Treasury is the spokesperson for the dollar. Now, come again, Bernanke? They are Federal Reserve notes, and you create them out of thin air, and lots of them. The big lie. When talking about gasoline prices rising, inflation, and commodity costs in general, he claims the Fed isn't responsible, yet then claims that if they keep going up and feed into core inflation, which they already are big time, waiting to see Walmart's price hikes in June, the Fed would have to respond. Huh? If you weren't responsible for the increase, then how can you act to stop them? And why would you act if you didn't cause the rise in the first place? Nothing though exposed this fraud of a man more than when he talked about Carmen M. Reinhart and Kenneth Ragoff's book. This time is different. The Bernanke offered his views that the reason why poor financial periods of crisis took so long to recover from was because officials didn't act properly. There you go. This exposed the man and his observed status mind for all to see. He thinks he is the Superman that the world has been waiting for. He seems to think that in his brilliance and money printing, he can just make prior bubbles go away, and we can get going again. Let's think about human nature for a second. We have had governments in charge of civilization since the beginning of time. Do you really think the majority of these governments really just stood by and watched after a financial crisis? Hardly. Furthermore, looking at the 1930s, it's very clear the government did anything but stand by idly. They interfered like crazy. That's why the U.S. economy never naturally recovered from the 1930s, never. And we never did. Never came out of the first depression. All they've done is print and blow up a series of bubble after bubble. But up until now, as he talked about, people never really questioned what's going on. Money printing, the Fed, all this stuff, until real recently. I have said for years that there is no stopping the mega cycle, and that is what we are in. I also said things also never play out the same way. You have to look at the players involved. The Bernanke is haunted by his mythical view of the Great Depression and deflation. He also thinks he can outsmart natural cycles. So when he says there is no end to a credit bubble other than deflationary burst or collapse in the currency, you have to ask yourself, which one will it be? I have said for years it will be the destruction of the currency system, and that is what has been happening. But what we have seen so far is merely an appetizer. Okay, the markets, gold and silver. It's very timely. I get into right today for the first time in a month. Last week, the entire lie was collapsing left and right. When the Bernanke spoke, gold soared. Obama came out. It was the latest reality TV show episode called The Birth Certificate. Still, his approval ratings plunged. Gasoline was spiking. Confidence in Disneyland was circling the toilet bowl. Nothing was working for the establishment. So what do you think happened this week? Well, we had the monster PR campaign. Bin Laden was just discussing it. And we had the silver plunging 13% in Asia, brain dead sheep outside the White House waving flags, yelling USA, USA. It was eerily reminiscent of people in the Arab world celebrating after 9/11. As many of you know, I believe the markets are heavily manipulated to paint a picture. However, I also believe the markets always win in the end. This is a war in which the super elite will not give up or reform the system on their own accord. This is not just a battle for money, it's part of a much larger battle for souls. Therefore, they will employ as aggressive and deadly tactics in markets as they do overseas when they launch wars in every other week. Yeah, as they launch wars every other week, it seems. That is what I think is happening this week. So it is over. I have no idea, but I like buying silver again at these levels. I also love the mining shares. I've never been more bullish on physical gold and silver than right now. Everyone has an opinion now, and that is fine. I told people to short oil in 2008 and buy it back in the 40s. Okay, the sheep will sell or even short. Remember, this is a war between truth and lies, but the truth is winning and will win. You can see the extent of their fear by what is happening this week. Stay calm, cool, and add to your physical, okay? One of the things I've been waiting to see was when people in the establishment start to speak out more and refuse to cooperate with the more psychopathic elements within the government, Wall Street and the military-industrial complex. I am now starting to see increased signs of this. This is still under the radar, but it is happening and accelerating. Sides are being taken. It's going to be very interesting to watch. Just remember, the system is coming down, and there's nothing they can do to stop it. They can only separate you from your real money, gold and silver, before it becomes clear to all. The action this week is a last-ditch attempt. The game is already over. Okay, then he lists a YouTube video here. I'm not even sure what it is. I didn't look at that, but you can go ahead and watch it. But anyway, yeah, I agree with this guy. You know that this is a battle going on. We saw this. They're worried about this alternative media. You know, they're worried about us out here not buying into anything, not buying into this anymore. See, they've been able to run from the 30s till now based on the fact that everybody just believed, oh, the Fed, well, that's the bank. You know, they help us and this and that. But you know, lately we've seen such, you know, abuses of everything that everybody's asking now. You know, everybody knows. You know, 5 years ago, if you were walking around and you were talking to people about the Fed, they would have thought you were crazy. Now everybody knows the Fed's a scam and all this. There's movements to end the Fed and all this, and they're very worried about it. No, make no mistake about that. They're very worried about this stuff, and they're desperate. You know, the thing with oil and silver and gold this week, they're desperate to get it down, and they're pulling out all the stops to do it. They're spending a lot of money in order to take it down. You know, we've had people wondering why silver's dropping. I mean, we've had 4 freaking COMEX hikes on silver in 7 days, you know, and people are wondering why it's going down. You know, they're hammering it down. So, you know, don't sell it because you're scared. I mean, the whole point is to beat these people. They want to get you to sell it. They want to get you to sell it and lose and become discouraged and all this. So, hey, just like he says here, hey, keep cool and watch what's going on, because believe it or not, they are losing here. They're losing their power and their influence because they're not hiding anymore. Their power was that they could hide behind the scenes, and people see them now. Now, that's really the bottom line to all this stuff. They can't hide anymore. So anyway, keep a level head, and thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later. Thanks.